It happens daily.
I was responding to the new marathon reference possible overdose.
To family, friends.
You respond in reference to an overdose ×2.
Call after call to save somebody, someone.
I have a 39-year-old male that overdosed on heroin.
Sometimes the person lives. Until next time.
He started taking pain pills.
Just ask Tommy Gillespie's loved ones who watched him struggle after back surgery.
It wasn't like Tommy woke up one day and said, hey, I'm going to shoot heroin in my arm.
The husband and father who loved to work on cars battled a roller coaster ride with drugs.
And we're looking for him for 2 hours.
In October 2016, Gillespie's cousin says he was found unconscious in a Lexington shopping center.
He was in the vehicle when he overdosed.
First responders took him to a hospital and saved his life.
He didn't really know where he was.
Teresa Goodlett says he was on parole, but never charged. He left the hospital free and clear, along with some life-saving backup in case of another overdose.
There were 2 things of Narcan in his belongings.
13 months later, Gillespie, who tried to live a clean life, died after overdosing on fentanyl. Relatives wonder if going to jail with mandatory treatment would have made a difference.
I think with all my heart he would be alive had he had to be accountable for what he did.
Kentucky's one of 40 states with a Good Samaritan law. Enacted in 2015, it protects people from prosecution if they report an overdose or OD themselves. It's meant to encourage people to call for help instead of leaving someone to die for fear of being charged with drug possession or drug paraphernalia. But some of Tommy Gillespie's family believe part of the law may be hurting more than it's helping.
I don't want somebody to not save somebody's life, to be exempt from prosecution or criminal charges that anybody else would be if they weren't calling for assistance. Is crazy.
The numbers keep increasing. In 2016, Kentucky reported 13,000 overdose cases in emergency rooms. 1,404 people died. 2017 numbers are expected to be even higher. So is the law working?
I don't consider it enabling. I consider it dealing with a problem.
Kentucky's Director of Drug Control Policy says the state spends $1.5 million a year to supply emergency responders and hospitals with Narcan and counselors to help addicts. He doesn't believe the law gives them a pass.
The person passed out behind the wheel because they've been drinking is not about to die. The person who's laying there in an opioid an opioid overdose, they're going to die. We're trying to save their life.
Tommy Gillespie's family questions if this is the right kind of help.
I think that they need to be held accountable for their actions. I don't think that ignoring what they've done will help anybody. It didn't help him.
Covering the news, Lee Searcy, LEX 18 News.
Oh, you look great.
At 95 years old, Corporal James Cecil is standing tall and still saluting, proud of the country he served.
Thank God I made it. I've lived a good life.
He enlisted in the Marines at the age of 17 and a half, alongside 18 of his classmates at Lexington's Lafayette High School. He went on to bravely serve in World War II, fighting in some of the bloodiest battles of the Pacific, including Okinawa and Saipan. He was promoted to corporal after killing a Japanese officer and even got a Purple Heart.
I had a lot of close calls.
But during all of that, one thing that kept him going was dreaming of one day wearing those sharp Marine dress blues.
I always said when I got home and it's all over with, first thing, Cecil, you are gonna get yourself a set of blues and have a night on the town.
But decades later, after 60 years of marriage, owning a business, and raising 2 sons, he still hadn't gotten them until his friends at Thompson Hood Veterans Center in Wilmore made it a reality.
I'm so happy. I can't believe it happened.
You're doing great.
So with the assistance of his family and others, Corporal Cecil is now the proud owner and wearer.
You look sharp.
Of an official set of dress blues, a small token of appreciation for a man who has done so much for our country.
I'm tickled to death. I can't express how happy I am.
In Jessamine County, for this Making a Difference, Claire Crouch, LEX 18 News.
What Eastern Kentucky lawyer Eric Kahn did was illegal. But when he defrauded more than $500 million from Social Security, was it morally bankrupt?
Certainly.
Lexington attorney Scott White once represented Kahn.
Whether that's 10 people or 1,490 that have legitimate claims and should have received disability benefits.
But most are no longer receiving those, and it's due mainly to their involvement with Kahn.
And therefore, the disability benefits were immediately revoked.
Even if they weren't fraudulent?
Even if they weren't fraudulent.
But for attorney Ned Pillersdorf, who represents many of Kahn's former clients,
he's had a nationwide negative effect with this outrageous annex.
Eric Kahn deserves most of the blame for the role he played in helping to swindle the federal government.
He routinely did not submit important medical records, and now we know why.
It's because he didn't have to. In this case, he had a judge, David Daugherty, helping him ram these claims through, more than 3,100 of them, for a cut of the action, of course. Daugherty is now serving 4 years for his involvement.
I mean, the only guy who got rich in all this is Eric Kahn and maybe Judge Daugherty. I don't think there's any question Eric Kahn has done more damage to the legal profession than any lawyer in the history of this nation.
And while Mr. Pillersdorf might be right about the damage done by Kahn to the legal profession, it pales in comparison to the impact this has all had on the more than 1,500 victims. Cheryl Martin of Dana in Floyd County is one of the 1,539. She looks well despite battling stage 4 lung cancer, and she's actually one of the lucky ones.
You know, they can't argue with me that I'm old.
So when her disability benefits, about $1,000 a month, disappeared in the wake of this scandal, Social Security kicked in to cover the difference.
A lot of these people are a lot younger than I am, and, you know, so they don't have that benefit.
And without it, some of them saw no way out.
There's other people involved in this whose family members have committed suicide.
Like Emma Burchett, who works for the Floyd County Chronicle and Times.
We had no means to pay for his medications or for him to go to the doctor.
So her husband stopped taking those medications, despite Emma's plea not to, and then he killed himself.
And to just stop taking it abruptly like that, well, obviously the ramifications were horrific.
Kahn's failure to realize the horror, even as he scribbled his musings in a 42-page letter from prison, is what most bothers Pillersdorf.
And the lawyer who for years advertised that he cared about these people couldn't find the time to say one word in those 42 pages.
Probably comes back to the original question.
I don't think he necessarily feels that bad for the people that now claim that their disability has been improperly taken away, because he did his job for them. He got them their disability.
I never left.
But he did it in a way that could now land him in prison for life. Many of those left in his wake have received a life sentence of a much different kind. Covering the news in Floyd County, Michael Burke, LEX 18 News.
A clean job site is a safe job site.
Trading blueprints for green beans.
We have honey carrots and manwich.
Can by can, Lexington's top architects and engineers are fighting hunger.
We have macaroni, we got some vegetables, we got dessert.
Okay. The designs.
Okay. That's on the ladder.
A departure from their typical work.
He's a dancing robot from the 80s.
And obviously, so is the medium.
Picking out the right cans are crucial for our structure.
It's all part of Canstruction, a worldwide charity art competition featuring structures made entirely out of canned food.
They have to be non-dented, they have to be new, they can't change the labels.
And in the end, those cans are donated to God's Pantry.
So it's really cool to see how they work and what they do, but then in the end, it helps feed so many people in our community.
Because they're professionals, these are no amateur structures.
We actually modeled it in 3D, our project, and then we made templates.
With months of planning and after-hours work.
These are just right here.
Whether it's a giant Rubik's Cube or basketball, these unconventional art pieces challenge the designers in unexpected ways.
It's actually really hard to find orange cans.
Last year's first competition yielded 23,000 pounds of food. At least 15,000 cans will be collected from this year's project alone, proving there is no way too creative.
I think it's really important that we can give back and give back to the community in such a fun way.
To help those in need.
Just get involved how you can with what you have and what you do. There's always a way to fight hunger in that area.
Covering this Making a Difference in Lexington, Claire Crouch, LEX 18 News.